In this lesson, we're going to talk a little bit about this tab up here, the Site tab, and creating a new site, and a little bit more manipulation on images. And you'll see how these two things relate in a few moments. First of all, let's go into our our page we've created. Now, normally for a specific site you're creating, you would want all your reference points to reference one particular folder. In other words, let's say you had 10 images on a page. Well, Dreamweaver knows, okay, all those images for this site, they reside in this folder. And that's the advantage of creating a site setup, so to speak. And that's under the Site window. So we go to Site, New Site. Now, I've already created one previous to this, but I'm going to create another one. Test Site. Actually, I might not even save it. I'll just use the one I have, but I just want to show you what this does. Now, for now, we don't need to pay attention to any of these other options in the advanced. If it defaults to the Basic tab, go over to the Advanced, name the site. So let's say this site we're doing, let's say it was the poetry site. And then you're telling it, okay, all the files and reference points are going to point to this folder. So you would see, I created this folder, My Website Work. Now you also want to show them, okay, where are all the images residing? And I'm going to point it to the same. I would point it to the same folder. And you hit Select. So now it knows all these reside in that folder. But being that I've already created one, I'm not going to hit OK at this point, because you can leave the other options the way they are right now. Hit Cancel, and I'm going to go up to Site, and I'm going to Manage Sites. So there's the one I've already created, Andre's site. So now I'm going to edit it. Just brings us back to the same screen where we created it on the Advanced tab, except I'm going to put the default image folder as the same folder as the local root folder, where all the files and data will reside. So now that I've selected that, I'm going to actually change the name to Poetry Site, being that that's what this is. Hit OK. And done. Okay. Now, under Andre's files, we see Files, Snippets, and Assets. So the assets, if you put new images in the folder, you could refresh like I just did. I put a few more images in here, and now I refreshed it because I put all the images in this folder, which you would do through just Explorer or My Documents, that I'm going to use for this site. So it knows, okay, look for images for this site Andre created in the corresponding folder that he assigned when he managed it or created it. So this is also the Files folder, which has actually a file in it, poem I put into a Word doc a while ago, and not just images. So you can expand these just like you would a normal Explorer window. So these two images that we have on our site are both in that site folder. Now what I'm going to do first of all is, I don't really like where this image is here. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to put it in between these two poems. So I'm going to create some space for it. I'm hitting return a few times. And now I'm going to bring it up to this section. A little bit higher maybe, like so. Now, if you notice though, it's all the way to the right, and I don't like the way it looks there. So let's right-click, and we are going to go to the Align. And you notice how now it's aligned to the right. So let's align it left, like so. See, I think that looks better. And now we can delete a couple of these extra lines that were in here before, just so it looks a little more balanced, like so. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, asset tags. So I'm sorry, not asset tags. If you click on an image like this one, and we pull up our properties window for the image, you notice there's this section here which says Alt. Now this is very interesting because this alt name or alt text, this is important when visitors are going to your site that are using screen readers or other assistive technologies. So it'll read whatever you put under alt text. So I could put in here man playing with fire pit in the woods. So it would read that back to the visitor if they were using these technologies. So I'm going to hit enter. There, that's in there now. Now, let's say I wanted another image in here. Now I think the way we inserted these images initially is we went up to Insert Image, right? And then we picked it. So another way we can insert an image, just like I've told you before, there's 100 different ways, I'm exaggerating, to do the same thing. So we could go Insert Image again, but instead, now that we have our files up, let's go to Assets, which are images in this case, from our site that we created, and let's pull in, we're just going to drag this over right to here. Now we're given, okay, what alternate text do you want for that? Well, I'm just going to put a beautiful red and purple cloudy sunset, semi-cloudy sunset. And that's it. Now it created it gigantic, didn't it? Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to match the size to this one. So this is 150 by 100. We notice that there in the Properties tag. I'm going to match this one to 150 by 100. Like so. And now I'm going to drag it up a little bit to where it's right next to the other. Oops. All right. I can't get it right beside it, can I? Alright, so at this point I'll just leave them on top of one another. Alright. I bet you I can get this one over here, though. The reason probably for that is our alignment, if you remember, browser default. Let's choose middle alignment, like so, like so. It's not letting me do it. Oh, there we go. All right, I knew if I eventually it would work. I'm just deleting some extra lines that are unnecessary here, like so. All right. So I just want to show you another way of inserting an image object, and we did a few adjustments. So you could add a few more across here if you wanted, but I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to preview in browser. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right. So there's a little bit of there's a little lesson on site, creating a new site which references all your files and folders and images, as well as a little bit more manipulation with the insertion of images. Enjoy.